You know, when people go through some really tough stuff in their early years, they don't just carry around memories. Nope, they carry this whole set of reflexes, these automatic assumptions that were basically built for survival back then. But they kind of never got turned off. So in this explainer, we're going to dive into how those echoes from the past are still showing up today. And you'll see they actually make a ton of sense once you know where they came from.
Okay, let me ask you something. Have you ever been trying to just relax, and all of a sudden you get this huge surge of anxiety out of nowhere? Or maybe when someone's being genuinely nice to you, a part of you is just suspicious. It feels super confusing, right? Well, those feelings, they're often a sign that your nervous system learned a long time ago that calm was just the quiet before the storm.
So let's get into it. These confusing reactions you might have as an adult, they are not random. Not at all. They're actually patterns. Think of them like a set of hidden rules that your brain and body learned to follow when you were little. And those rules are still running in the background today, like old software on a new computer.
I mean, think about these situations. A simple text like, "we need to talk," pops up, and your body just tenses up, right? A tiny mistake at work feels like a complete catastrophe. Compliments, they feel kind of suspicious. But one piece of criticism can stick with you for days. You find yourself replaying conversations over and over, trying to figure out what you did wrong. Even just trying to rest can feel uncomfortable instead of refreshing. That's your nervous system in action. It learned a long time ago that a small sign could mean a big, bad consequence was coming. So even now, when the real danger is gone, that internal alarm system is still on high alert, treating a little bit of uncertainty like a full-blown emergency.
And sometimes that overreaction gets so intense that it turns into something called an emotional flashback. Now, this is really different from a regular memory. You're not necessarily seeing the past in your mind's eye. Oh no, you are feeling it. All the helplessness, the fear, the shame from way back when just washes over you right here in the present. And it leaves you totally confused, scrambling to figure out why you're having these massive emotions that just don't fit what's happening right now.
Okay, so where in the world do these intense reactions even come from? This is so crucial to get. These patterns were never flaws. They were brilliant survival strategies. Seriously, they were developed by a child who had very little power and almost no choices. And this is the absolute key to understanding everything. A kid's brain, when it's faced with chaos or neglect, isn't thinking about long-term development. No way. It's just trying to make things less bad right here, right now. These coping mechanisms were smart solutions to impossible problems. They weren't mistakes. They were masterpieces of survival. So what was in this survival toolkit? Well, for some, it meant becoming hyper-vigilant. You know, that kid who could scan a room and read an adult's mood from a mile away. For others, it was about being the family peacemaker, the one who always knew how to calm things down. Some kids learned the disappearing act, getting so quiet and small they just wouldn't be seen. And a lot of kids became expert people pleasers because they figured out really fast that keeping everyone else happy was the surest way to stay safe.
And here's the twist. This is how the very thing that saves you as a kid can really challenge you as an adult. Fast forward to today. That constant watcher, that's now nonstop anxiety. The family peacemaker, they're now dealing with total burnout from always putting everyone else first. And the kid who mastered the disappearing act, they've grown into an adult who feels completely disconnected from their own feelings and needs. See, the survival tactic is still running, but the world around it has totally changed.
All right, so what is actually happening inside the brain during all this? Because this isn't just in your head, psychologically speaking. It's biological, it's physical. So let's dive into the science of how all that early stress literally shapes us.
First off, not all stress is the same, right? There's helpful stress, the short-term kind that helps us grow stronger and builds resilience. But then there's toxic stress, and that is a whole different beast. It's when that alarm system in your body just never, ever turns off. It's prolonged. There's no supportive adult around to make you feel safe. And it just floods a kid's developing brain with stress chemicals. We're talking about something that literally changes the architecture of the brain.
And look, this isn't just a theory. We've got decades of research backing this up. And this brings us to something huge in this field, the study of adverse childhood experiences, or what everyone calls ACEs. We're talking about things like abuse, neglect, or just serious dysfunction in the home.
And when I say the original ACEs study was big, I mean it was massive. We're talking more than 17,000 people. That incredible scale is what allowed researchers to see these super clear, totally undeniable patterns between what happens in childhood and how well we do as adults.
And the main finding? Well, it was stark. The bottom line was this. The higher someone's ACE score, which just means the more bad stuff they went through as a kid, the higher their risk was for a whole list of physical and mental health problems decades down the line. We're talking everything from depression and anxiety to even things like chronic pain.
And underneath all of this, there's often this really deep wound of shame. See, a child's brain is naturally wired to think everything is about them. So when bad things keep happening over and over, the kid's logic leads to one conclusion. It must be me. I must be bad. And it's so important to see the difference here. Guilt is the feeling I did something bad. Guilt can actually be helpful. It can make us change. But shame is the belief I am bad. It's a devastating attack on your core identity.
Okay, so after all that heavy stuff, it might feel pretty bleak. But here's the most important part. Hearing all this does not mean your fate is sealed. The past might have written the first draft of the blueprint, but you are the one holding the pen now. Your brain is way more adaptable than you think, and change is absolutely possible.
It's thanks to this amazing thing called neuroplasticity. It basically means your brain can create new pathways its entire life. The past explains things, for sure, but it doesn't have to decide your future. Just understanding where these patterns came from, that's the first, most powerful step. It doesn't excuse what happened, not at all, but it explains what's happening now. It gives you a map, and with a map, you can start to navigate toward a different destination.
So what's the path forward? It's really about updating that old operating system. Step 1 is just recognizing those old survival habits when they show up. You know, that sudden flash of anxiety, that gut-level urge to just say yes to please someone. Step 2 is to understand where it came from, with compassion, remembering that it once helped you. And then step 3, you choose to respond differently, just a little differently, and you do it over and over and over again.
So if you take away only one thing from all of this, let it be this. The kid who went through all that didn't fail at anything. They survived. They showed incredible strength, and they survived things no child should ever have to face, using whatever tools they could come up with. And you know what? That kid deserves to finally feel safe. And the adult they grew into, well, you deserve to build a life where being calm isn't a warning sign. It's just your reality. So let me leave you with this question. What if, after all this time of being on high alert, what if you actually deserve to rest?